The designer looks at the floor plan in front of him and turns pale. He immediately warns his friend not to buy this house, because on the second floor, there's a windowless kids' room, but the room has 2 doors, and there's even a bathroom built inside. This is clearly the layout of a solitary confinement cell. When Jack hears this deduction, he can't help but picture a child locked away inside that room. Not only that, the designer also points out the house has many hidden compartments, obviously meant for doing something sinister. But Jack isn't convinced. Was this really designed by someone specifically to hide bodies? Seeing the deadly serious look on the designer's face, Jack can't laugh anymore. But the truth behind the story is far more terrifying than anything he imagined. Our lead, Jack, is a video blogger who specializes in horror content. Lately his views have hit rock bottom, and he's desperate for a big new topic. His co-worker York is getting married, and he's got his eye on a second-hand house, a standalone 2-story home, only a year old, but priced absurdly cheap. Still, his wife absolutely refuses to buy it, and the reason is bizarre. Between the kitchen and the living room, there's a hidden space completely sealed off by a wall. She can't say exactly what's wrong. It just feels off somehow. York hands the blueprints to Jack for a second opinion. Jack catches the scent of great horror material, and immediately goes to consult his architect friend, Bud. Bud stares at the blueprints for a long time. His very first words are that he wouldn't recommend buying this house. In his eyes, everything about this place feels wrong. That sealed compartment is just the appetizer. The truly frightening part is on the second floor. A kid's room with no windows, 2 doors, and its own bathroom. Eating, drinking, everything can be handled inside. Lock the door, and the child has no way out. What kind of parents would build their child's room like a prison? Bud's theory is that the previous owner had an extreme need to control their child. This room was made to imprison the kid. Jack's professional instincts kick in, and his mind automatically conjures up an image of a child locked away in a dark room. He isn't scared off. Instead, it's like he struck gold. A house this creepy, turned into a video, would definitely go viral. The next day, he stakes out the house, filming every inch inside and out. While shooting, he notices something strange. A woman is standing on the street corner, staring intently at this house. After he finishes filming and leaves, that woman is still frozen in the same spot. The real turning point comes late at night. During editing, Jack overlays the first floor and second floor blueprints, and a chill instantly shoots up his spine. That sealed-off compartment sits precisely, directly beneath the second floor kids' room. He rushes back to Bud's place that same night. After Bud sees it, he can't sit still either. If there's a hidden passage under the kids' room floor, the child could slip into the compartment without anyone knowing, and the other end of that compartment is right up against the wall of the first floor bathroom. Bud grabs a pen and paper and sketches out a diagram. Then he casually spins a scenario that makes your skin crawl. A family of 3 lives here. The couple invites a friend over for dinner. After the meal, the guest goes to take a shower. The wife heads upstairs and taps out a signal on the kids' room wall. The child, receiving the signal, crawls down through the passage into the compartment, feels their way to the bathroom wall, and strikes the defenseless guest. And then, the compartment connects to another passage leading straight to the garage. Load the body into the car, and before dawn, it's all cleaned away. Jack goes cold from head to toe. In other words, this is a house designed for murder from the blueprint stage. He still tries to comfort himself, telling himself he's overthinking it, but reality slaps him first. York calls to say he's not buying the house anymore. Jack opens the news, and freezes on the spot. Right near that house, police have found dismembered body parts. And even stranger, the victim was missing just one thing: their left hand. Bud's deduction hit reality dead on. Jack trembles with excitement. He wants to pull Bud in to dig deeper, but Bud waves him off and refuses. As he leaves, he drops one meaningful line: every home has its own secrets. Jack edits the material into a video and posts it online. Overnight, it goes viral. Soon, a private message finds its way to him. The woman's name is Yuki. She claims she has more clues about this house. When they meet, she tells a bizarre story. 3 years ago, her husband said he was going to visit a friend's home, and then vanished off the face of the earth. A few months later, police found a body in the wilderness. DNA confirmed it was her husband. The body was also missing a left hand. The case went nowhere. She refused to give up, and searched the surrounding area herself. And she really did track down a house. The moment she pulls out the blueprints, Jack's whole body breaks out in goosebumps. This house's layout is almost identical to the one in Tokyo. The same kid's room wrapped in layer after layer. The same strange, inexplicable spaces. The 3 of them quickly compare the 2, and a difference emerges. This house has no garage, but it has an extra triangular room with an interior window. This room blocks light from reaching the living room. It's obviously a wall that was added later. Even more disturbing, directly beneath the kids' room, there's a completely unused space. Bud can only think of one possibility: a basement. With no garage to move bodies, the corpses still need somewhere to go. This basement buried in the belly of the house is a body storage room the designer deliberately set aside. The same design logic: 2 murder houses, 2 dismemberment cases, both missing a left hand. This can no longer be explained away as coincidence. That night, Jack is organizing footage in his studio, when suddenly his computer screen starts flickering without warning. Then the entire room plunges into darkness. Jack's heart lurches, and he quickly grabs a flashlight to look around. Just then, a crazed stranger, a woman, suddenly lunges out of the dark. She viciously bites his neck, and knocks him out with a heavy blow. When Jack opens his eyes again, Bud is looking at him with a worried face. Bud tells Jack that he ran into Jack's co-worker in the hallway, who kept muttering for Jack to stop, to quit investigating. Bud senses danger closing in, and once again urges Jack to back off. But Jack is already drunk on views and morbid curiosity, and insists on continuing. The next day, to test the theory, Jack and Lisa sneak into the second, uninhabited house for an on-site investigation.
この壁の奥に謎の空間があるはずです。
In the weak beam of the flashlight, they reach the second-floor kids' room. Jack is shocked to find the floor covered in scratch marks of varying depth, and even traces of blood left in the cracks. This proves a child once struggled here in agony. Jack follows the marks over to a cabinet in the corner, and forces it aside. Sure enough, beneath it is a pitch-black passage.
じゃあやっぱりこの家は人を殺すために作られた。
Just as Jack is about to look deeper, Bud's call suddenly comes through, and in a terrified voice, he says the victim was actually never married. The woman calling herself Lisa is lying, and her reasons for getting close to Jack are anything but innocent. He has to leave immediately. A chill runs down Jack's spine. He jumps up, only to find Lisa has vanished at some point. But the next second, the girl silently reappears behind him, head tilted, staring at him with a creepy look in her eyes. Jack is scared out of his wits. He screams and rushes out of the house, loudly begging a neighbor lady nearby for help. Seeing this, the girl offers no explanation. She turns and quickly leaves the scene. That night, Lisa comes to Jack's door to apologize, and confesses the whole truth. She admits she isn't the victim's wife, but the younger sister of Anna, the house's former lady of the house. In tears, Lisa recounts the secret she's carried for years. When she was in high school, her father died in an accident. Her mother later found a stepfather with an extreme need for control. For years, he surveilled and psychologically abused the sisters. Her older sister, Anna, couldn't endure this suffocating life, and chose to run away from home. For years, there was no word from her, until recently, when her sister suddenly reached out again, and the two sisters briefly reunited. At their reunion, Lisa learned her sister was already married with children, but before they could finish talking, a car horn suddenly blared in the distance. Anna's expression turned panicked. She hastily shoved a note into Lisa's hand and rushed off, and written on that note were the addresses of these two houses with their deadly hidden passages. Because she was on her own with no power, Lisa made up the lie, using Jack's help to search for her sister's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Jack learns from a neighbor of this house that after Anna's family moved away years ago, the neighbor once photographed a dark figure on the balcony at night.
これぐらいの背の高さだったかな。もう親戚の子供か何かと思って。
The photo shows the dark figure's face is identical to the crazed woman who attacked Jack. Based on the clues and photos, Bud pieces together a timeline. 4 years ago, Anna's family lived in Kigo County. Because she was pregnant with a second child, they added that triangular room to the living room. 2.5 years ago, the family moved to the house in Tokyo. In the photo, besides the adult woman, there's another child. This means Anna had 2 children, and the recent severed hand murders must be connected to Anna's family.
差し詰め、殺人一家ということでしょうか？
栗原さん。
To get to the bottom of all this, they decide to travel to Lisa's hometown to investigate. But when they find Lisa's mother, the mother is evasive the entire time, always dodging the key questions. She even warns Lisa that her father's death back then was no accident, and digging further will only bring down disaster on them. Seeing she can't get any answers, the mother finally hands over a diary her father left behind. But the contents have been deliberately smeared and destroyed. No useful information can be made out of it. But at this point, Jack, chasing views and the truth, decides to personally travel to the remote ancestral home to investigate. Bud, however, having grown suspicious, turns back alone, returning to Lisa's mother's house. Ignoring her attempts to stop him, he forces his way inside. And in the end, in a hidden cabinet, he discovers a terrifying ritual mask and a large quantity of hallucinogenic drugs. It turns out the crazed woman who attacked Jack that night was Lisa's mother. Under Bud's interrogation, the mother finally reveals a family secret buried for over 100 years. Their family is called the Katajira, once a prominent, distinguished clan in the area. But in the Meiji era, the head of the household at the time fell in love with a maid in the house, and got her pregnant. When his lawful wife found out, she was consumed with rage, and tormented the maid endlessly, causing her to miscarry. Before she died, the maid laid down a vicious curse. Every male descendant born into the family would be born missing a left hand. Soon after, the curse came true. The family's descendants died off one after another under bizarre circumstances. The panicked family called in a medium to seek a way to break it. The medium then proposed a bloody ritual called the left hand offering. The family must select a boy of legitimate bloodline, and from birth, imprison him in a place that never sees sunlight. When the boy turns 10, he must kill a stranger with his own hands, and cut off their left hand, to offer to the maid's vengeful spirit. This killing ritual must be carried out for 3 years straight, to bless the family with a healthy male child. To carry on the family line, the clan passed down this inhuman custom generation after generation. Learning the truth, unease slowly rises in Bud's heart. Meanwhile, Jack and Lisa, at the ancestral home, come face to face with the long-missing sister, Anna. But Anna now looks as if she's been brainwashed, her face blank, showing no reaction to her sister's arrival. Also at the table are the family's ruling patriarch, and that stepfather with the extreme need for control. When Lisa questions her, Anna insists, without any emotion, that she's been living at the ancestral home all along, and the grandmother lets out a bone-chilling, eerie cackle. The two decide to stay for now and wait to see what happens. At this point, Bud also rushes over, and reunites with Jack and the others, telling them the truth about the family's curse and the sacrificial ritual. To save Anna and her children, they start searching the ancestral home for clues. Thanks to Bud's sharp instinct for architectural layouts, Jack discovers, behind the ancestral home's Buddhist altar, a secret passage leading underground. Following the dark, damp passage deeper and deeper, the sight before them stuns them. The stone cavern is piled with countless withered human hands the family has collected over the years. At the center of the altar sits the maid's memorial tablet, and beneath it are 2 hands from past offerings. But the third spot is still empty, meaning this year's offering hasn't been completed yet. Then, in a cage deep in the cave, they see a small boy wearing a mask. They guess he's this generation's designated sacrifice, named Momo. Just as Jack tries to document all of this with his camera, the stepfather ambushes him from behind, knocking him out with a wooden club. When they wake again, they find themselves locked in the dungeon alongside Anna and her husband. Facing this dead end, Anna and her husband finally reveal the real reason they built the murder houses. It turns out they were truly in love. Her kind-hearted husband couldn't bear to let his wife carry the curse alone, and resolutely joined this family. The family handed over that imprisoned adopted son, Momo, for them to raise, forcing them to complete the offering. But the couple couldn't bring themselves to make an innocent child into a killing tool, so they took a huge risk and fled the ancestral home with Momo, building those houses with hidden rooms in the city. But the purpose wasn't to kill, it was to hide the child, to escape the family's pursuit. The earlier severed left-hand murder happened because one of their neighbors suddenly died of a heart attack. With no other choice, the couple took the dead man's left hand to satisfy the family. But despite everything the couple tried, the family eventually saw through their lies, dragged the family back to the ancestral home, and used drugs to control them. No sooner has she finished speaking than a group of masked family members storms into the dungeon, and drags everyone to the ritual site. Jack is unluckily chosen to be this year's sacrifice. Bud is also stabbed in the leg amid the chaos. The grandfather forcibly orders Momo to cut off Jack's left hand. Under the relentless pressure of the family, Momo is forced to pick up the axe and walk toward Jack. But Momo, raised with the love and care of Anna and her husband, still has goodness in her heart. In the end, she doesn't strike Jack. Instead, she swings the axe into the ground. The scene instantly descends into chaos. To cover everyone's escape, the husband stays behind to hold off the pursuers. As they flee, the crazed grandmother suddenly chases after them from behind, wielding a chainsaw. But luckily, her eyes are too old and dim, and she gets the chainsaw firmly jammed in a crack in the rock. The group manages to break free. Having barely escaped with their lives, they're blocked at the exit by the stepfather. He raises a gun and aims it at Jack, trying to complete the offering.
あんたらそんな馬鹿げたこと本気で信じてんのかよ。
俺は奴らと違って欲しいのは金だ。片渕の資産だよ。
At this critical moment, the gravely wounded grandfather suddenly appears, kills the stepfather with a single axe blow, and cuts off his left hand on the spot. It turns out the old patriarch had long seen through the stepfather's ambition to seize the family fortune for himself. In his eyes, completing the offering and continuing the family line mattered more than anyone's life. Taking advantage of the family's infighting, Jack and the others finally escape the ancestral home. They look back, and a raging fire is swallowing the entire sinister building, destroying a century of sin along with its inhuman curse. After it's all over, Jack, exhausted in body and mind, gives up the idea of turning this experience into a viral video. He chooses to bury the secret in his heart forever. Afterward, in the ruins of the ancestral home, police discover a large number of charred bodies. Anna also voluntarily confesses to the police how she removed the left hand from Mr. Hirano's body. But it seems things aren't completely over. At the end of the film, Lisa accidentally overhears a chilling exchange between her mother and sister.
もうすぐよね。今年の左手供養。 お母さんがまた何とかしてあげるから。
Then the two turn their gaze toward a group of homeless men collecting supplies. This terrifies Lisa so much she doesn't even dare to breathe. Meanwhile, as Bud examines the floor plan of Jack's studio, he discovers, to his horror, that it too hides an extra wall. Jack pulls back a curtain, and finds the wall not only covered in mold, but the cracks crawling with insects. The two press against the wall and listen. And once again, an eerie scratching sound comes from inside. And with that, the film ends. Ghost House is, without a doubt, a truly representative work among Japanese horror films in recent years. It shows us that truly refined fear isn't about cheap jump scares. It's a kind of psychological intrusion that can seep into your real life, making you, in some sudden moment, feel a chill of dread toward the ordinary things you take for granted. After watching this film, you'll instinctively knock on the walls of your own home, take another look at your room's layout, and wonder what's really hidden behind certain things your family members say. That's it for this film. See you next time.